Okay. Welcome back to Tell Me More with me, CJ Quarterbaum. Tell Me More exists to help bridge the gap in intergenerational workplace dynamics, build better leaders, and ultimately help us prepare for a better future. Today, I am joined by one of my prized pupils. Okay, you want to know something?
What do I want to know?
Here's a confession.
Wow.
I don't know how to say your last name.
Who would have thought?
Because I think names are very important, and I go out of my way to learn names. But you were like, just call me Wick. And I said, well, that's not really helpful. It's Rick Ramasinghe.
See, because you met me before the era of like all my friends insisting that they say my name properly. And also, it's funny because this year it's gone like even a step further, and now my like closest friends call me my like family nickname, which is funny.
Well, please introduce yourself to the people. Tell us, who are you? The full name. Okay. Where are you from? And what do you do now? Okay.
So my name is Kasuni. Oh, that's a white name. Hang on. I can't do it on command. Okay, my name is Kasuni Wickramasinghe.
Say that a little slower and enunciate.
I did enunciate.
Come on.
How much are you going to cut this?
Oh, I'm not. Actually. I'm not. I'm trying to release this tomorrow.
So I was really your last option.
No, you were my first option, but you chose not to record last week because...
If we had recorded last week, that conversation would have ended up in the garbage, also with both of us passed out on the ground.
Yeah, this is true, because we were both sick.
Yeah, we were
Please,
both not
introduce yourself to the people. Who are you, where are you from, and what do you do now?
I said who I was already.
Yeah, but you said it too fast. You gotta slow down on a podcast.
You're just old, okay. How slow do you want me to go? You want a metronome?
Just do it.
You can cut this if you want.
Oh, no way.
Okay. My name is Kasuni Wickramasinghe. I'm from North Jersey, specifically Morris County, and as of right now, I'm a student studying something.
But what are you studying?
Studying math and economics and computer science, unfortunately.
Oh, so smart.
Not really.
Well, we have no idea what we're about to talk about.
Nope.
So we're gonna figure this out as we go. Okay, you are a member of Gen Z.
Unfortunately.
Yes. Well, okay, why do you say unfortunately?
Okay, I'm grateful to have grown up in the time where I grew up because we had access to a lot of resources that other generations didn't. And I don't think my childhood was that bad. I think as I get further into like young adulthood, like I feel like the internet and social media shapes way too much of my life. And I was thinking about this a lot over the past couple of days as I'm trying to like study for exams. I can feel the effect it's had on like me and my attention span, and even sometimes like I don't feel like I have original thought anymore because you're constantly like inundated with information that everything, to some extent, it feels like sometimes everything you think, you've seen it before somewhere, and you don't feel like sometimes you don't feel like you're capable of coming up with things by yourself.
Fascinating, but I understand. We live in a world of constant input, constant information, and things being thrown at us. And very specifically, I feel like with social media, we go there to figure out what to think.
Yeah.
So how do you develop original thoughts growing up in this world?
See, that's the question. Because I think also with school, it becomes an even worse problem because this university is not the best in some aspects, including the quality of some of the teachers. So when you go to class and they talk about something and you don't understand it, especially as you go into these like higher level electives, particularly for math and econ classes, where YouTube resources are not very easily accessible, it's so easy to go to like the internet or go to an AI bot and be like, ask, can you explain this to me? And it just feels like it's like a double-edged sword kind of, because number one, it feels like you're using the internet in a good way, in a positive way to like enhance your learning, but at the other side, it just feels like you're relying too much on it. And then, especially with like some of these math problems, to some extent, I'm like, oh, I have homework due at 11:59. I can't sit here and puzzle this out for 3 hours because I'm not going to submit my homework. So then it's like the sense of like urgency, which I also think is a huge part of Gen Z, like urgency culture of like, this has to get done now, this very instant. Like it leads you to over rely on the internet and other like digital resources. So in terms of like creating original thought, especially with academics, sometimes I think, which is right now a huge part of my life because I'm a student, I think it can feel really hard at times because there is so much I don't know, and because the content I'm doing at this point is advanced, it feels almost unattainable for me to get there by myself. Like, I can't figure out the proof for this theorem without looking it up online, which again is the nature of math sometimes. Like, someone way smarter than you has figured it out. Like, it's not your job to necessarily produce it by yourself, you just have to understand it. Besides the point, but like, I think I find myself struggling, I think, this semester more too, because my classes have just gotten like harder, and I feel like I constantly don't know the answers, and I'm constantly looking for the answers somewhere on the internet, that it just feels like I'm not producing anything by myself.
So then what do you do about that? Because you're using Google, you're using AI to get the answer, but you have to know this stuff.
Yeah.
So when are you going back and actually figuring it out or learning it?
So I am learning. Like, I'm not just getting like the answer from a chatbot and putting that into my homework book, but it, sometimes I struggle with like, is it wrong for me to ask ChatGPT to explain this to me rather than going to the professor himself? Specifically, there's this one class that's been driving me crazy, and I don't like the professor, which is why I feel like I've been using AI more. And I don't like the textbook because he assigned a really crappy textbook, and he is not a good professor. He basically teaches this class as an advertisement to take a higher level elective. So he throws stuff at you and doesn't really expect you to understand it, but he's still giving it to you. Like, this is very relevant. We spent 3 lectures on something called finite fields over an irreducible polynomial.
Oh, I totally know what that is.
Yeah, of course.
The polynomials.
So we spent 3 lectures on that, and it's not that hard, but it is very abstract algebra. Maybe not very abstract algebra. I'm new to abstract algebra. I haven't taken it before. I don't know anything about the fields. But he just throws it at you, and it's a lot of information that you don't know, and it's frustrating, and that frustration makes me want the answers immediately. And I don't like this professor, and his office hours are at an inconvenient time, so I don't go. So instead I rely on like ChatGPT or Google or something like that.
Is the desire to have the answer now indicative of just life in general for someone in your generation?
Probably. Like, I don't like, I'm impatient. I know I'm an impatient person, but like, one thing that I think about is when I'm at home with my parents, my dad will have these very obscure, not even trivia questions, but just general knowledge questions about, like, we had a conversation, I remember in the car once, about figuring out which religion was like founded first. And we were in the car for like 15-20 minutes, and I was like, okay, how do I puzzle? I was like, we have Google. He was like, no, think about it. Or like, I wanted to think about it too. So I was like, okay, piecing together like the fall of the Roman Empire, when I know the start of Buddhism was from like what I know of my own like religion, piecing together like the Roman Empire, who came after the Romans, whatever, and then kind of piecing together a timeline. So that was one incident where it would have been much faster to like just use Google to come up with it, but we pieced it together, and I think I ended up being like within 2 centuries of each start date, which was kind of cool. But usually, I think it's also a lot of like conflict avoidance. Like, I would rather people not argue and debate for 30 minutes over what the answer is. And I would rather just have the answer than deal with that conflict.
What do you think you lose when you don't have, we'll call it healthy debate and conflict?
You definitely lose a lot of critical thinking. And also because, like, the example of coming up of like founding dates of religions, the way I went about it without using the internet was using a lot of like 8th grade history knowledge. And I felt satisfied after thinking about all those things, because my sisters had kind of given up, and I was like, okay, let me think through this. And then I was right, or like I was close to right, I was on the right track at least. So you lose a lot of the being able to make connections from everything you've ever learned, because at this point, because the conversation was probably 2 or 3 years ago, probably 2 years. So at this point, I'd been in 8th grade, I don't know how old I am, like 6 years ago, more than 6 years ago, whatever. But you're still able to pull information from a lot of different places, and I took stuff I learned from like 8th grade basic empire world history tying it back into world history from like sophomore year of high school, tying it back to like a book or a documentary or a YouTube video I had watched and being able to pull all those pieces together, which I think is really important. And you also lose the ability to have healthy debate, right? If you don't know how to, it's a very basic example, but being able to, no, I think this, no, you're wrong, this actually happened, these are my facts, but I think this. And being able to even have a very low stakes debate without letting it escalate into an argument is a very important skill. I think because of the way I grew up, I wanted to avoid arguments at any cost, which is what lean kind of pushes me towards get the answer now and leave that debate aside. I think even with my friend, it depends who I'm around. With some of my friends, I'm more willing to like, okay, let's talk about this and like see how far we can get. With other people, I'm like, let's just find out the answer and leave it at that.
It's interesting you bring up this idea of like being able to debate and critical thinking. You have been in my class every semester that I've taught it pretty much. And one of the features of my class is I have students do a debate. What have you noticed from your peers and then these other members of Gen Z who are just slightly below you? What have you noticed over time?
It definitely gets worse, I think. Because I think about the debates that we were doing in even like high school English class. And I was lucky enough to go to like a pretty well-off high school where we had good resources, we had good teachers, and we had like very well-structured classes. And in our like lit and lang classes, like every couple of months we would do a debate. And they were very structured. They were like thesis, main argument, your 3 supporting points you need, supporting articles, evidence, whatever. So coming into college, I feel like I expected that level of, I don't think commitment's the right word, but that level of thoroughness from everybody else, and I was kind of surprised to not see that. I think in my class, when we did our debate, the opposing argument, the guy who was leading that team said like one sentence.
Do you remember what your debate topic was?
No.
I change it every semester.
It was...
Was it the argument for safe spaces?
Maybe.
Hunter is in the background, nodding vigorously, okay. Like, yes.
Yeah, he said, I don't even remember what side I was arguing also, but
this was 3 years ago, I get it.
Yeah, he said like one sentence and I think I called him out for it, which is kind of funny. But you even see these kids now, especially like this semester, using ChatGPT or not being able to solidly come up with an argument or feeling very uncertain of themselves, which also could be due to COVID. And like at this point, whenever I see new freshmen or new sophomores in spaces, I'm like, hey, what year of school did you miss? Because I think it says a lot about how you enter college. Because I feel like for me, I missed my junior year, half my sophomore year of high school and my junior year of high school. So
your whole junior year?
Yeah, I did virtual school the entire year. So I feel like, I was talking about this with a friend actually the other day. We were like, we didn't grow as people. We feel like we were really confused our freshman year. Like we didn't know what we were doing, which is the nature of entering college in a new environment. But it feels like we had 2 years to kind of thaw out and get ourselves back into a position where we could move again and learn again and stuff like that. Because for 2 years, basically a year and a half, 2 years, I was staring at a computer screen all day, every day. And I don't remember a lot of that time, honestly. I don't know what I did. I don't know what I was doing in my everyday life.
Actually, so I live in this area where academics are the pressure cooker.
Yeah.
And I watch kids their junior year, their parents are like, you do nothing but school and the extracurriculars for your resume. What was that like for you, for it to be your junior year, doing it behind a screen?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't feel like I learned that much. I'm trying to remember what classes I took. I took AP Lit, Calc 1, I think Chemistry I took. Like a weird combination of classes. And honestly, like, I was chilling. Like, I would do school, I would log, because our classes were also shortened because they didn't want to keep us on Zoom for an hour and a half every day. So it was like, at least for the first half of COVID, maybe like the first half of 2020, like March through June, it was like an hour of school, like hour for each class instead of the hour 20. And then I would like call my friends for 3 hours while we ate lunch together, and that was my life. And
wow.
I don't, see, I think it was, the only good thing about it was that I got to kind of escape the junior year intense load. So at least, yeah, I got to skip the intensity of it. All my AP exams were online from what I remember, which was weird. Like, actually, genuinely, I don't remember what I did with AP exams my junior year, which is kind of weird to think about. But I got to escape that, but I also missed out on like a year of swim team. I missed out on a year of like school newspaper, a year of seeing all my friends every day, and it was weird. And the fact that I can't remember it is kind of scary. But also going back to the whole debating and how they're able to debate, I think a lot of the kids who are freshmen now would have missed freshman year of high school. No, like 8th grade or freshman year of high school or something like that. Which means, okay, 8th grade is a formative time. You get humbled. Like, or I just think it has an impact on everybody, and how well you bounce back from that depends on how old you were. I mean, especially for like younger little kids, like they miss out on so much socialization. Like, yeah, you would know, right?
My oldest, 20, I think she did pre-K in 2021. Yeah, so it was like coming out of COVID, and like she had to wear a mask to school every day. But if I remember correctly, I think they like took them off in the classrooms. I don't fully remember, like it honestly feels like a blur at this point, but I felt really, we'll call it lucky, that it wasn't like 3rd grade for her or anything like that. Like she missed the worst of it and then was able to just start school in like the closest way to normal.
Yeah, so it wasn't anything crazy.
Yeah.
Versus a lot of kids who are already established in school, like probably past elementary school, and even like the second half of elementary school, like you see your friends every day, you see your teachers every day, you have people to talk to, there's so much socialization, and then you just get cut off from that for a year and a half entirely.
How do you think it affected you?
I think about this in terms of when I was writing my college apps. Because when you write these college apps, especially your Common App, you're supposed to talk about an experience you had. And what experiences was I having sitting in my room all day, every day? And I felt really lost while writing that essay. Not that I think that college admissions say anything about you as a person, but I think definitely writing that, be like, and the Common App is hard for everybody. Like, figuring out what to write about is hard in itself. But figuring out what to write about when you feel like you've done nothing, and when you have done nothing for the past year and a half, because I was writing mine, August, September of my senior year. I had just come back to school, right? And I was just adjusting and getting used to being around everybody again. And I missed out on so many opportunities, because yes, junior year is a time of intense stress, but it's also when you take on like more leadership roles, you get more involved in your high school. You're an upperclassman. It's your first year as an upperclassman, technically. Like I missed out on a year of being on the swim team, like being on varsity, racing. I missed a year of track. Like all those experiences that could have given me something to write about. Not that that's the only reason I was doing those things, so I would have content, but I think it really just contextualized that I felt like I did nothing. Also just like staring at a screen all day, every day. Because I was home with my entire family, but you're home with everybody long enough, you get sick of each other, right? Mm-hmm. What are you gonna do? I played the drums like a lot more. I think I got good then. Like that was when I really started to like advance. I was taking like online drum lessons, but I think I was reading.
So I'm curious. So you're the baby of the family.
Yes.
Your sisters were home with you. Were they able to help you navigate this time? But because they were in college?
They were in, so Kithme was, one of my sisters was, first half of COVID was her senior year of high school.
Man.
She missed prom, she missed graduation, she missed everything. And then her freshman year of college was also half online. I think her fall semester was online. Or I think her entire first year was online, actually. And then, so she was going through it, right? Kavi was studying for her MCAT. She was, actually, yeah, like this is why I think like I didn't really see her that much, because she was studying. So the most we did as a family, we played a lot of cards, I think we watched movies. Like when I tell you I don't remember, I can't remember this. But
No one remembers. It was half a decade ago.
yeah, like we played a lot of music together as a family, but I don't remember us getting significantly closer in any way. Like I don't think our relationships changed that drastically. Just kind of weird to think about, but also I think it makes sense because you're around each other so much, you just need more distance and you need more space.
Yeah.
Like our house is not that big.
So this is a good place to transition. You talked about playing the drums and getting pretty good and playing a lot of music as a family. You are mildly famous. Do you want to tell the people about that?
I feel like the most we say is we have a YouTube channel and we cater to the Browns, and that's it.
We'll take it. Do you want to tell the people this YouTube channel?
I think I'm good on that.
I understand.
I appreciate the free publicity, but I'm going to decline that one.
Just know that she has millions of views.
We do not.
Okay, many thousands.
Although I think we're at like 800 something subs.
That's crazy.
Is that more than you?
I got like 25.
That's crazy.
But you know what? A year, 2 years, 3 years from now, someone's gonna be going through my content and I'm gonna have lots more people here and they're gonna be like, wow, this was back in the beginning.
Yeah.
So it's all right.
You better get famous.
I don't wanna be famous though. Like that's not my goal.
You better get moderately famous. Okay, like on the scale of fame with like, who's the most famous person you know?
I guess The Rock, right?
The Rock, sure. Okay, if The Rock is at the very top, and like, who's the most B-list celebrity you know?
No, I actually have a great answer for this.
No.
I want to be chef famous.
Yes.
So like a Marcus Samuelson.
For your niche people.
Yes, I like in my niche.
Yes.
People know who I am, which is good because that means they're consuming my work. I'm getting clients. I'm writing books and they're purchasing them. All those things, but also chef famous. I get preferential treatment at restaurants. And that is, I want to walk in a place and I want them to go, we're booked, but you're here.
Okay,
we're going to get a table for
but
you.
niche famous and restaurant famous aren't like the same thing.
I want to figure out a way to bring those worlds together, okay? That's what I want.
Like almost the waiter has read every single one of your books.
Listen, you never know.
Maybe you'll just have like an impromptu signing.
You never,
You're not going to get your check comped.
We'll call it, I was like an F-list celebrity probably about 15 years ago. And I was a spoken word artist, and I was at the bank one day, and like we're all standing in line, and this woman turns around, she goes, "You're that poet." And I was like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's me. She goes, "Oh my God, I love your work." No, this is a life long ago.
Where's the spoken word?
This is a life long ago. Here today.
Somebody recognized you at the
What we
bank.
do is Tell Me More, where we talk about intergenerational workplace dynamics and building better leaders and preparing for the future. And speaking of the future.
Oh my God, no.
Here you are on the precipice of graduation.
Don't say it like that.
How do you feel?
Terrified. But also, I will say, I'm more of like comfortable. Can I curse?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't give a fuck anymore.
It's a good place to be.
Which is like, I don't know. Because I realized I'm smart enough, I will always find a job. Now it's just figuring out what I actually want to do with my life.
What have I told you for the last 3 years? You're smart, you're capable. I don't worry about you. You're gonna be okay. I understand like it's all big and scary and there's so much unknown. And I think if you don't have that straight line path, right? Like your sisters are gonna be doctors. And so it's like, they kind of know like med school, residency, however the process goes, I'm gonna practice this thing. If you don't have that straight line path, the world feels scary. It's like, well, what am I going to do? But I think you have done the thing I tell everyone to do. Collect skills, experiences, people, try different things, and it's all gonna come together.
Yeah.
You're smart.
Thanks.
You can talk to people, which I don't think, especially your generation, understands how much that matters, the ability to have a conversation with people. Mm-hmm. You're willing to try different things. That also matters. Because sometimes you don't know what you don't want until you try it and go, actually, I don't think I want to go this route. But I've collected some things here and I'm going to take that with me. So like, you'll be fine.
Yeah. It feels more exciting than scary now, which I don't want to say because it feels like a jinx. But like, see, I think about all these people that know what grad school they want to do right after graduation. Like I think about my sisters. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. And I'm like, but how do you know? Because there is so much out there that you have not tried, and hey, it's not for everybody. Some people work with the straight line path. It doesn't make sense to me because I'm like, you're 18. I know nothing. You definitely know nothing. You're 30-something. You also know a little more.
I have life experience.
A little more. See? Hey, you've admitted you don't know what you're doing half the time.
I want to say half.
20% of the time.
I would say like a good 30% of the time.
I was being generous.
But this is life.
Yeah.
Like there's an element of life that is just figuring it out.
Yeah.
And I think, so this is something I've seen in your generation. I went to dinner a couple of weeks ago with 2 guys in their 50s and 2 women in their 20s. And I'm talking to the women in their 20s.
They were like together as a couple?
No. No. This was me. I periodically will take my team out to dinner and just as like a thank you for your work or whatever.
Oh wait, you have minions?
Sometimes.
Okay.
As Hunter off camera. Like, it's so great that you guys can't see Hunter in the background. But, so we're at dinner, and I'm talking to the woman, and I'm like, yeah, like, you know, a big part of life is just figuring it out. Like, you're not gonna have every answer. You're gonna meet new things and new challenges, and ultimately, it's like, oh, okay, the car broke down, what do I do in this situation? Oh, this needs to get paid, what do I do? Oh, this thing happened at work, what do I do? And they were like, what do you mean you just figure it out? So I turned to the guys in their 50s, and I'm like, hey guys, one of the biggest things you have to do in life is just figure it out. And they both look at me and go, yeah. And like the women were floored. Like for your generation, it's almost that what we were talking about before, where you're so used to having the answers in front of you, and you're so used to everything coming so quickly, that this idea of, hey, you're just gonna have to figure this out is almost like, well, we don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
And that is probably my biggest concern for your generation. Mm. It's that grit and resiliency when life gets hard and the challenges come to say, well, I'm just gonna keep pushing forward.
Yeah, because I would agree with that, because like when I was figuring things out, I felt so overwhelmed. I didn't have the trust that at some point the pieces would kind of start clicking together. Not that it's like a God's given process, but like at some point I would figure it out, and I had to trust that. But I feel like also a lot of people are expected to know, right? You're 18, you're in high school, everyone's like, what are you doing? What's your major? Where are you going? What are you doing? What do you want to do? And people are like, I don't know, like I have so much time, especially for kids, like tying back to COVID. You missed 2 years of high school. You missed 2 years of the figuring it out. I don't know what you were figuring out at like 3 a.m. on a Monday night when you didn't have school to go to the next day, like online, on like whatever. But so you missed those 2 years. And I'm not saying that this is a problem that's unique to people who missed high school for COVID. Could happen to anybody in Gen Z. But I think COVID is a pretty defining characteristic of any generation, but particularly Gen Z, right? Yeah. Considering we grew up with the internet. We were the first generation to grow up with the internet. We were the first generation to be completely left alone with the internet. Like,
we failed you so badly. We just didn't know.
Yeah.
And so this is what I'm really curious about. I have a piece coming out in a couple of weeks about the future of parenting, where if we make the same mistake with Alpha, this unrestricted access to the internet, we have no one to blame but ourselves.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, you were the guinea pigs, and we're seeing the direct result of this unfettered access. We're seeing it on ourselves as well, millennials, Xers, boomers. But the generation most harmed by it has been yours.
Yeah.
If we let Alpha do the same thing, we're terrible people.
Yeah. It's also like you can't get away from it.
Yeah.
You cannot do anything without the internet. Like I was thinking about, I was like, hypothetically, not that I think I would do it, but I was like, what if I just got a flip phone? Then I was like, my parents want my location. I want to have a good camera on my phone. My assignments are on my phone. My school emails on my phone. People from work need to call me. Like,
you can't navigate without your phone these days.
You can't navigate. You can't go anywhere. And then I was thinking about my schoolwork. All of my schoolwork is online. At this point, being at, not to shit on Rutgers, but being at a school like this means that, at least for me, in my major and the courses I'm taking, half the work I'm doing comes from the internet and from my, not from my professors, right? Also, I think it's just the school is very inefficient. It's very inconvenient. If I want to go to my professor to ask them a question, I need to go take a bus to a different campus, walk, find their office, make sure they're in there, not busy talking to another student. And then I have places to be. I have work, I have school, I have clubs, whatever. Like, my time is also valuable to me. So at that point, it becomes easier to rely on the internet to the point where it feels like a necessity. Is it a necessity? We'll find out. Probably not. But you can't do it. My point is, you can't do anything, or it feels like you can't do anything.
Yeah. So I have this really bad habit of not charging any of my devices.
It's a great habit.
And so I let them die all the time, because if my phone's not dead by the end of the day, I turn it off at night, because otherwise I know I'm just going to be scrolling for hours and not sleeping. But so I FaceTime my mom and my sister every morning, and I had to do it from my
every morning?
Just about.
That's cute.
Shut up. So I had to do it from my iPad this morning because my phone was completely dead, but my iPad was also dying. Wow. And my mom was like, well, what are you gonna do like if a meteorite like hits the earth and all the power goes out? I'm like, Mom, if a meteor hits the earth, the last thing I'm worried about is whether or not my phone is charged. She's like, yeah, touche. But there is this, we just spend too much time like this. Yeah. And I think what we experience now, and you'll experience this in 2-3 years once you start working, is because these devices have allowed for unfettered access all the time, there is no separation. Yeah. There is no time where work turns off, where school turns off. It all bleeds into everything else. When there were times where I would find myself, I don't really sleep, like I'm just up all night. I would find myself at 1 a.m. like, well, I'm awake, so let me open my computer and like work on this report. And it's like, no, like there needs to be clear boundaries and separations, because this is not good for us. Yeah. And all the data is showing us that. And the question is, how do we now turn back from that?
Because like even in college too, right? Like I can't sleep. I'm up at 1:30. I'm like, let me look at some slides real quick. Let me do some notes.
Oh, you're such a nerd.
If you were taking my course load, you would be too. But
I would never take your course load.
Yeah, don't. I would never take my course load again. And I feel like instead I should be turning towards the more, I think I'm pretty old. I will say this with a disclaimer. I'm pretty good at my work-life balance. Better than some people I've seen. Like I have boundaries for myself where I'm like, I have done enough today. I'm going to burn out, and if I keep doing this to myself. So I have positions where I'm like, okay, it's 1 a.m., do something else. Like I'll start baking instead, and my roommates are like, what the fuck are you doing? Go to bed.
I was the same way. Well, I was never like a work. Sorry. I was never like a working person all the time, but I would start cooking at like midnight.
There's a cookie in my bag for you.
Is it oatmeal raisin?
No, it's a chocolate chip.
I'll take it.
Because I was like, you always complain, I don't bring you baked goods. Now I brought you a baked good.
I appreciate you.
As you should.
So as we round this out, what are you looking forward to over the next, we'll call it 5 years of your life? 5 years. That's a lot of time. It's a whole COVID ago.
It's a whole COVID, fuck. See, because I don't know what I'm doing. So we're gonna start with the basics, which is gonna be moving out, buying a car, hopefully. My bank account's gonna hurt so bad. I don't know. I had talked about this. I'm gonna go on another tangent. I was talking with one of my friends, Justin, about this, and I was like, comparing myself to my sisters. I was like, because when I go visit my oldest sister in Virginia, like, she loves her life. She has a good life. She has good friends, her house is adorable. Like, she has a very balanced life. She hikes almost every weekend. She's taking like a pottery class. She took like a pickling course, so now she knows how to make pickles. Cool. And I was like, there was a point in time where I was like, I want that life. Is med school, is grad school the path to life? And I was like, wait, never mind. That's just like having freedom and being an adult and not having adult in quotes. She's only a couple years older than me, but like having freedom, having the time to do things, being able to make those things happen. Because I'm thinking about it now in spring semester. Arguably, I'm having too much fun with my friends and not doing enough school. But we have all these plans. We're like, okay, let's go to Vermont. Let's go to Six Flags. We want to go to the beach. We want to go to the Tulip Festival down in South Jersey. We want to do all these things, and we don't have the time. Mm. So I am excited to have the time to do the activities that I want to be doing, which sounds very basic, but I feel like school takes up so much of my life right now.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I actually would argue you're doing it right now, because who you are now, you're laying the foundation and the habits for who you're going to be later. If you couldn't figure out now how to be a full person, you're not going to do it when you're working full time and the job has all these pressures and demands on you. You're going to look at those weekends and be like, well, I can catch up on work. But the foundation you're laying now is, no, like, I'm going to go for the hike. I'm going to go see the tulips. I'm going to do the thing, because life is more than school. It's more than work. It's what you do. It's not who you are. And I think you are crafting an identity as a person who is full and vibrant and just great.
You're being so nice.
Because I'm really proud of you. Watching you these last 3 years, I know the things we're not talking about, and the struggles you face, and watching you not just overcome them, but now being in this place where you're like, I'm not afraid, I'm excited. Because you've grown so much. So I'm looking forward to seeing who you become even deeper over the next 5 years. I don't worry about you. You're gonna be okay.
I'm thinking back to, like, I think the first proper conversation I had with you, I was, like, in tears. Like, walking around outside.
Yeah, that was fun. Well, like, not in the moment, but you know.
You're gonna make me cry again.
It would be great content, but what I'm gonna do is...
That's crazy! Damn.
We're gonna end it here.
I'm being used.
But thank you for the last 3 years, truly. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Tell Me More. I appreciate you. I thank you, and I hope that you keep tuning in every week as I have these great conversations and we get to see just kind of firsthand the hope that we can have for the future. See you next time.